Hi everybody and welcome to StoryTime. I hope you've been looking forward to this. We are working our way through the Bible, and you know what, in a few weeks' time, the climax, the coming of Jesus will happen. But we're still quite a long way away from that. And so let me just make the picture board look a lot more exciting. Now you'll remember, everybody, that the people of God, Israel, have divided into two groups. You've got the people in the north called Israel, the tribes, 10 of them, and the people in the south called Judah. And in Judah there is the capital Jerusalem, and in the north, where Israel are, they have their own capital. And I've been telling you, haven't I, that the people followed the king's heart. So if the king was a good king, the people followed him. If he was a bad king, they followed him as well. That's why it's really, really important for all of us to be good leaders. Now, the story today is a sad part of the story in the Bible. Here's the king, and this time we'll say that he's the king in the north. The king in the north. Good. And he's not a good king at all. And God has sent people like this. He sent people like Isaiah to him. He sent other people. These are called the prophets. And they came with a message to tell the people and the king to change their ways. Because if they didn't, they would be attacked by an enemy called the Assyrians. Can you say the Assyrians? Very good. That's excellent. But you know, they did not listen. And then one day, the Assyrian commander said, "Prepare the army. We're going to war. Let's take over the world." And the Assyrian commander came. Watch out, here he comes. And he came and he started to attack. He started to attack God's people in the north, the 10 tribes. And you know what? Many of them at that time died. But what the Assyrians did was to take the people of God and to scatter them all over the world. And so the people of Israel, the 10 tribes, get scattered. Do you know that is why there are Jewish people living all over the world today in different countries? Because the king of, where is he? Here he is. The king of Assyria came, and he would have come through the gates of, oh look, there's his hand. He would have come with his army to the gates of the city, and there he would have attacked. Well, God was also talking to the king in the south. So we'll say now that this is the king in the south. Now, he listened to God when the Assyrian army came, and God protected him. But time went on, and another king, this is another king now, and he is not a good king. And another army came. This is another army. There we are. This is the king of Babylon. Let's put his hat on. The king of Babylon. Let's put him straight like that. And he came. And he sent his army and his commanders. And they came to the south. They came to Jerusalem. And God had said through the prophets like Isaiah and like Micah. And he'd also spoken through Jeremiah. And he said to them, unless you change your ways, you're going to lose my protection. And you know what? When the Babylonians come, they're going to take you away to their country. The people did not believe them. This man here, we'll say this one, is Jeremiah. And Jeremiah said to the people, yeah, God has told me to tell you that the king of Babylon, and his name is Nebuchadnezzar. Can you say that? No, I can't either. The king of... Stop laughing. Nebuchadnezzar, he will come and he will attack. And that's what happened, guys. That's what happened. Nebuchadnezzar came. He attacked the people. He destroyed the beautiful temple in Jerusalem. Here he comes now. Oh no! Another sword fight. And this is God. He's that's right. And this time, the Babylonians are the world power now. They were different from the Assyrians. They didn't scatter the people, but they took many of them back to their own country, back to Babylon. And you know, lots of people were taken back and they had to live in a foreign country. Next week, I'm going to tell you a lot about that. But before I do, I want to tell you of some of the promises that God gave his people through people like Isaiah. This is Isaiah. You know, God had said to Isaiah, go and tell the people that one day somebody very special will come. One day, a lady will have a baby in a very special, a miracle baby. Yeah, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Prince of Peace. Everlasting Father. And you know, he was speaking hundreds of years before, but that person would come and it would be Jesus. Then another prophet, this is another man of God that came with a message. His name is Micah. And he said, and when this person comes, he will be born in the little town of, I can hear you all saying, Bethlehem. But also, and let me put another prophet here. We'll say this one is Jeremiah, shall we? Okay, we'll say this is Jeremiah. And Jeremiah said to the people, God is going to take you to another country. He said to all of those 2 tribes in Jerusalem, you will go to Babylon, but I'm coming with you. I will look after you. When you get there, get married, settle down, have children. And Jeremiah said to the people, for I know the plans that I have for you, plans that are good, plans that you will like, not to harm you, but actually to give you a great future. And these messages were given to God's people often at a time where things were getting bad and bad. Well, the last part of the story that I want to tell you, and it's a shorter one today, is this. I want to tell you about 4 people who the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, took from Jerusalem to his own country, prisoners. Here they are, get ready, count them with me. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see that they are all young men. In fact, they may have been about 19 or 20, and they were taken by the king, prisoner, back to his own country. Shall I tell you their names? You might have guessed them already, or some of you might have done. This is Daniel. Can you say Daniel? And these are his 3 friends. Are you ready? Their names are Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. It's like the 4 musketeers, or the 3 musketeers and D'Artagnan. Now, I can't wait to tell you the story next week, because next week's story, and the week after, because we're going to have 2 weeks talking about what happened when God's people were taken to Babylon, and the difference that Daniel and his 3 friends made. Because although they were prisoners, they still trusted God with all their heart, with all their mind, and with all their strength. So that's today's story. It's sad. The 10 tribes have been scattered, and the 2 tribes who were in the south, Israel, the wall's been destroyed around the city, the temple's gone, and the people have all been taken away. Next week, we're going to find out what happens next. See you then.